And we are back. Happy afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sasquatch Trail Running's Wild Goose Trail Festival out here in beautiful Wayway Yonder State Park on the border of New Jersey and New York. I am your host for the weekend, Elmani S. Viney, with my cool director, Shy, in the background. Okay, so let's get right to it. The races this morning shot off at 7 a.m. And so now we are about, actually going on 6 hours into the races. I definitely wanted to give everybody an update to tell you where the leaders are. Currently, for the 100 milers, Jen and Scott are still leading their respective races. For the 100K, we have Rebecca and then a new leader on the men's, Tutsimo Besso. Okay, the Tutsimo Besso is now leading for the men on the 100-kilometer race. In the 50-miler, it remains the same. Stephanie and Ben are still your leaders. And then in the 36-hour, we have the same as well. We have a change. Nicole is still leading in the women's, and Robert Ivan is leading for the men's. So you hear me talk about this. So what I want to do is break down what is actually happening. So here at Wayway Yonder, the race is broken up into what's called a loop. Now, for those of you in trail running, when we think about loops, sometimes we think one large loop and you keep going around in terms of your mileage. But here's interesting because it's 3 different loops. So you have the pink loop, and the pink loop is going to be out here on the eastern side of Wayway Yonder, and that goes for about 7.7 miles. And then you have the blue loop, which is this way a little bit more northwest, you can say. And over there, that loop goes for about 6 miles. And then you have the checkered loop. And the checkered loop is actually more towards this way. And the checkered loop goes for about 4.75 miles. So you figure 7.75 on the pink. We have 6 miles on the blue and 4.75 miles on the checkered. The blue, by the way, is my favorite because you get a chance to go around the lake and you stay along there, and just beautiful scenery all throughout. Then we talk about the aid stations here. So the great thing about this type of looped race is when the runners come in from any of the loops, they can go directly to the aid station. So the aid station is right behind me over there. You might not be able to see it through the other tents. That's okay. Later on within the stream, we'll actually go over and we're going to have a chat with those that run the aid stations. But what's great about this is it allows us to have one stationary aid station for everyone, unlike most traditional trail and ultra races, to whereas you have aid stations that are placed between 7 to 10 miles in between each marker all the way out. It's great for consolidating resources, able to stock up better. And also I think it does a great thing psychologically for the runners because they know after each loop they can keep coming back. So that's what's happening with the race. Just wanted to give you a little bit more of background. Now what I want to do is shift to some interviews here. So I got some cool people coming up. So we're going to talk to a few folks. First, we're going to talk to Joe in a second with Sasquatch, and he's going to give us a background of what's happening on the operational end with the race. Then we're going to talk to Chaos Crewing, and after Chaos Crewing, we're going to talk to women in ultra running. And then last but not least, I wanted to talk to a person that is actually crewing her husband so we can get the perspective there. And the other thing I like to say before we get started here, as you can see, we're showing the runners coming through. We felt as though that though we're live streaming and the interviews are cool, it's also great that you get a chance to see actual runners coming past as they finish a loop. All right, let's begin. Joe, come on in.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. So, Joe, introduce yourself.
I'm Joe Branding. I am the co-race director and timing and scoring and all-around technical issues person.
So welcome, Joe. So let's talk about that. Tell me about the setup. How do you set everything up so that you're capturing what you need to capture for the runners?
So we use bib tag tracking systems here, a single timing point that everybody has to come through on every single loop. This brand new system to us this year is working phenomenally. We haven't missed a single person coming through. High confidence in the software. We can now process and push live results on site only today, but that is how we are doing it this year.
Wow. So you're doing the live results today. So what about for tomorrow?
Tomorrow as well.
Tomorrow as well. What's some of the more adventurous things that have happened over the years that you've done while Goose with the system?
Well, this is the system that works.
Right.
Prior years, we just have massive overreads, people just missing their bib tags. So we have to chase them then. We're very attentive, but if we see their name doesn't pop up, we will sprint after them, tackle them if we have to, and get their bib number and put it in manually.
Got you. Now, the interesting thing about your team and the A team, especially when we're talking about the 36-hour race and 100-mile races, you're getting no sleep, if I'm correct.
I will disappear in an hour or two and try and get some sleep myself, because I will be race directing overnight, so we can send Kim home, and she could be nice and fresh for the morning cruise.
Got you. So, but how do you set that up, knowing that people will be coming through all through the night tonight?
We have a long list of volunteers. We've worked with them all a long time. We have high trust in the crew that we don't need to be around watching them all the time.
Wonderful. And then another thing, just wanted to ask here, because I know you got to get ready to jump back into that. What's some of the more interesting things you've seen with the runners that have come through on the loops?
Everyone's still happy. That's surprising. It's beautiful weather. They couldn't ask for a better day to be out here.
So we have to talk about Ophelia. How was it when Ophelia hit?
I personally loved it. I am an adverse weather person. I enjoy the misery, but it took a toll on some of our runners. They were just, it was a post-tropical depression, and they were very much depressed by it.
Wow. So, but we all survived.
Somewhat. We survived somewhat.
Indeed. And I see like some of the people that really love to cheer on the runners as they come through. Who are some of the team members that you work with?
Well, we have Mike, we have Clayton, and Kathy over there.
Okay.
They'll just be cheering all night long. Whoever's here, that's the number one thing we need from them is convincing people to keep running.
Got you. Do you do anything special for anybody that comes in first place?
We give them a medal. And everyone who completes the 100-miler gets a belt buckle, custom made by Kim. And then anyone in the 36-hour gets a belt buckle if they finish 100 miles as well.
Mm-hmm. And then I'll say this, the last question, interesting. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the golden hour. What is it like when you know the last person has crossed the finish line?
Aside from just being very emotional, watching them compete their goals, the happiness that they have, all the community around it, it's nice to be able to go home then.
Joe, thank you. That's perfect, man. You leave. Don't leave me hanging.
Take care.
All right, man. Thanks. All right. All right, so that was Joe. That's the buddy from Sasquatch there and race director. And now we have Chaos Crewing. Come on up. Introduce yourself. Hello.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm with Chaos Crewing Company. We're a small business who we offer crewing service to athletes, but we also promote race support and people who support races. We have a network, a free network, and we connect people with crew if they're traveling, doing multi-day events, FKTs, things like that.
So now I want to talk, one of the reasons why I'm interested in talking to you, if I'm correct, didn't you do were you the one that did the webinar?
Yep.
Okay. That's what I found interesting because it was the first time I heard of a company actually promoting services on crewing. As someone that began the ultra marathon journey who did not have a crew at that time, I understood why people needed a crew. What made you decide to go this route with the company or to start a company on crewing?
Well, quite frankly, my partner, my husband, he would go travel to races in other states and really he wasn't able to go to some races because he didn't have the support that he felt he needed to do well in those events. Some people, have needs, some people have medications, some people have, it runs the gamut of what your needs are in a multi-day event or even like any ultra for that matter. It's a really tough experience, but also it's something that can be communal. It can be a team sport, if you will. And I like to think of crew as performance enhancing in a way. And sometimes they really do help us keep from the wheels falling off. So I had a lucky encounter with my business partner Brittany, who is out actually running a loop on the course right now, and she was really interested in this idea that we would try to create a free network for people to promote just more people having accessibility and safety in the sport.
Right, and it's interesting. What do people underestimate or do not think about when they're putting together a crew? What are some of the things to say, okay, folks oftentimes when they're starting do not think about this and need to think about this if you're having a crew?
I think communication is one of the biggest things. Like, it's great to connect quickly with people and have people jump in to help you with when it comes to crewing and aid, but really communicating about your needs ahead of time and knowing, kind of getting to know your athlete or getting to know your crew really well. It just helps things run smoothly when you're in the toughest parts of your event. So I think just the early preparation, communicating really, really well, and then also just talking through some of the pain points that you may face out there. So what are some challenges that you might face on the course, like bad stomach, maybe blisters, and quick ways that you might your crew might be able to address that for you.
Right. So whether for your husband or someone that may contract with you for crewing, how much preparation time do you need with them, and is it based on the actual race that they're running?
It is based on the race. It really depends on if you're doing something from scratch and maybe you're putting together a course or you're following an FKT route, or if you're actually going to a sanctioned event. Is it a point-to-point event or is it a looped course like this? In general, I would say about 3 months of maybe meeting every other week or as often as you can to make sure that your crew knows what they're doing, feels comfortable around you, feels comfortable handling difficult conversations, sometimes emotional conversations. I mean, this is a sport. We want to have fun, but it means a lot to people. And so I think if it means as much to your crew as it does to you, and that takes time in the build out ahead of time.
Wow. And so the other question I have for you is, I think we all have seen that trail and ultra running is starting to explode beyond the intimate culture that we've had. Do you see the need for crewing services, like professional crewing services? Do you see that side about to grow or growing?
I do. There are a couple of other groups across the country that they have their own little networks of crewing services. I think it's a definite opportunity within, if you think of the running community, like running as a sport or running as a business. Right. There's a huge opportunity to engage people in the sport who maybe can't run, who maybe don't have the accessibility to do a 200-mile event, but they want to be involved. And also, it's an opportunity to just build more awareness and safety around the sport, because the more people that are engaged from a crewing standpoint, the more they're exposed to the runner manual, the race rules, and the environmental things that impact of these types of events. So yes, I think it's going to grow, and I think professionalism in it is especially important for athletes who maybe have really high goals, and you need to consider your safety. You need to make sure that you're taking in what you need. So if you're doing an event that doesn't have a great setup like this, it's a very kind of bare bones, we call them no frills races that don't have like big aid stations. Yeah. I think crew is a great, is hiring crew or hiring us to come in and train your crew I think that's something that anyone could take advantage of.
Now you just sparked a question. Actually, I have about 3 more questions to ask you. It was actually 2, but you just said something, so I'm going to throw in a third question. Have you been asked by race directors to come in and maybe consult on their aid stations? Because you just talked about the bare bones thing, and one of the things that is oftentimes talked about in the trail running community is sometimes we go to these races, we pay a lot of money, but their aid stations and their support stations are sometimes not up to par. So has any race group come in to say, hey, could you come in and advise us on what we need to be doing?
Yeah, so we've had people invite us to do their aid stations for them. It's really the capacity for us is not there. But what we have been asked to do is train volunteers. The race directors have sent their volunteers to us to just go over some like basic crewing. We have a basic free crewing handbook that you can just email us at chaoscrewing.com and get a copy of the handbook. And it just gives you about 13 pages overview of kind of the high level things you need to know if you're going to crew, if you're going to volunteer at a race at all. One thing that we hope to do in the future is to develop some materials around crewing and volunteering that race directors can use as a tool to train all of their volunteers sort of uniformly. So we're talking with race directors about what that might look like and engaging them in maybe focus groups to expand that. Another thing that we do is we train and consult for individual crews. Even when we're not crewing for them, we will help crews kind of learn the ropes, make their plans around a certain course. We put together a crew handbook for them that's very athlete centered, and yeah.
So, so my second question now, thank you for that. My second question is for people that are novice in crewing for someone. Like, for example, my wife, for the first time, crewed me when I ran Gorge Waterfall 100K last year. What advice would you give to people that want to crew, family, friends, their husband, their kids, in terms of when is it time to have the hard conversation in terms of identifying that they may not be in a physical condition to keep going? What's some advice you would give?
Yeah, so I think the first piece of advice is it looks different for everybody. So you as crew can do some things to learn the signs and symptoms of dehydration is a big thing. Not being able to keep food down is a big thing. So if you know some like alarming things that are going on and you're communicating with your athlete when they come through, then you can typically troubleshoot. If it's to the point where they need to see a medic, at that point is when I would say, if it's not to the point of needing to see a medic, then you haven't really reached that point where it's like, okay, flat out, I'm done. Unless the athlete just really, they're not mentally able to do it or not mentally in that space to keep going. And that's okay. I have seen, and I say that with caution because I have seen people call it early and say, hey, you gave it your best shot, and the athlete probably could have taken a quick nap, maybe had something to eat that was different than what they were having, or sat out for a few minutes. There's a lot of different ways you can troubleshoot all the issues that kind of arise during an ultra, and it's hard for us to see, especially when you're new to crewing and it's typically a loved one. It's really hard to see your loved one kind of suffering, but just to remember going into it that there is a certain level of suffering that people kind of know that they're signing up for, and it's kind of this like nirvana of coming off of that makes the event, I think, what people chase after when they're going for these ultras. So don't give up on them, and don't let them give up on themselves too early.
Wow, that's a great, thank you for that. That was great insight. So last question. It's actually a two-part last question. One, do you have any workshops or anything coming up? And then two, what is your information? Where can people catch you? Website, Instagram, and everything of that nature?
Yeah, so we're always throwing up new free webinars and live events around specific races, but also just crewing 101 events. So you can go to our website and catch those and see like what events are coming up. It's chaoscrewing.com. Pretty simple. We're at Chaos Crewing Co. on Instagram and Facebook. You should be able to find us. And yeah, like I said, events popping up all the time. The next thing that we're going to be at, actually this coming week, we're going to Mammoth 200. It's a new race, and we're partnering with Distance to Empty podcast, and we're doing a really cool series on running that new event and also crewing it. So it'll be really fun.
Wow. So check it out, everyone. We have Chaos Crewing. Thank you so much. This is informative. Love it all. And I'll be back over for that great coffee.
I'm going to give you a couple of our neck gaiters for you and your partner.
Neck gaiters. Shy, we have neck gaiters. We have neck gaiters. Oh my gosh, you don't know. Like I love these.
Awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. Look forward to talking to you later on while we're here.
You too.
Thank you. Take care. All right. Rachel, come on over. Oh, we're going. This is some great information. For everyone, we're loving this. We're loving what we're doing here, live streaming from Wild Goose Trail Festival. And now we have Rachel from Women in Ultra Running. Rachel, hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So, Rachel, tell me about yourself, and then tell us about Women in Ultra Running.
Yeah, hello. My name's Rachel. I live in the Philadelphia area. I've lived there for about 10 years. I'm an ultra runner, a coach, and really enthusiastic about getting more women involved in the sport. I think when I first started ultra running, I'd seen all the greats like Courtney Dauwalter winning races all out, and I saw like how much I think power women have in this sport. So I figured there were tons of women running, and maybe the races had 50-50 gender splits, and then learning that typically on average there's about 30% women at the start line and 70% men. I found that surprising. So kind of took more of a look into why that might be. We started Women in Ultra Running, so we are a nonprofit dedicated to helping more women access the sport. We do that with community building, education, and financial assistance.
Oh, wow. So that's great. So let's go more into detail of that, because what I have found in ultra running, I have seen, and I can't speak for other sports, but let me ask this question to you. Do you see more of a parity in terms of in ultra running than other sports? For example, you just talked about Courtney Dauwalter, and I remember at UTMB, UTMB had put a post up saying, "Gentlemen, when you see Courtney Dauwalter come, move over." Right? But it wasn't talking about the regular Joe like me. It was talking about, no, the elite guys move over because she is that good. And I have found women to be very dominant in this sport as well. Have you seen that, and is that inspiration for others to get more involved?
I think so. I think it's really like women. I think we have such a capacity for endurance sports. We also have like such a capacity to like dig deep into that well, to suffer really, and to have that like mental fortitude and mental strength. And I think that's really what we see play out in ultra running versus just like brute speed. We have that other piece as well. Not that men don't, but I think it's a nice strength that women bring to the sport. And I do think it's inspirational. I think that's inspirational, but also so are folks finishing at the back of the pack. I think I love that ultra running often celebrates that DFL, that last finisher with cheer tunnels or the golden hour finishers, because I think that's just as important. And sometimes in a way, maybe even more inspirational, because people can really like see themselves in that person. Maybe we aspire to be Courtney, but she's such a great, but we can see ourselves gritting it out and finishing strong and finishing with family, finishing in that golden hour, and it makes it feel even more accessible.
So great. I like that. And I want to talk about your services more. What are the let's take two types of runners, right? The woman that's a novice, they're just jumping into ultra, right? They're just moving up. And then the woman that's experienced. Are there two types of services and supports you provide them, or is it all the same?
Yeah, I think it's generally all the same. I think for our in-person events, which we currently have chapters in Pennsylvania, Colorado, and Montana, and for our in-person events, we do strive for them to be beginner-friendly at their core. So you're not coming out to an event and running an ultra. An event is usually a group run followed by some sort of educational opportunity. So we might have a discussion on crewing and pacing. We might have a discussion on nutrition and fueling. So it's meant to be accessible for someone who's even ultra curious. We recommend that they come on out. But that's also a great way for experienced ultra runners to get your weekly run in, to learn more about the sport. I think we can always grow and learn more there. And then we also have a really vibrant online community. So we have like an app platform that we use. And a lot of our really experienced runners are great mentors for some of the beginner runners. So we have different chat forums. You can ask a question about some type of fuel you want to try. And we have a lot of experienced runners chime in, say their experience, their ins and outs, and then that newer beginner runner can learn from that. And I think that's one of the great things about the ultra running community that we see is there's really not a lot of that gatekeeping. Everyone wants everyone else to succeed, and we're sharing that wealth of knowledge. So I think from beginner to experienced ultra runner, there's a place for everyone with us.
Excellent. And, it's funny, you're talking about sharing wealth of knowledge. as you and I both know, with this explosion in trail and ultra running, right? There's also the research side that has been exploding. But it seems that a lot of it is slanted towards studying men and not women. So when they're giving, the thoughts of new knowledge out there, it's based on small groups and men of certain ages. As a woman, what changes need to happen on the research side, and two, how do you combat that? I don't want to say combat that. How do you make sure that the research or the advisement that's being given is really tailored towards women versus the research that's out there being based on men?
Yeah, I think advocate. Be loud, show up, be a woman in this sport, and advocate that we do need research. And I think that can be not like a call out, but a call in. If you see a really cool study and you read through the study, but it had a sample size of mostly all men of a certain age, let's say, reach out to the person. Ultra running is still such a small community. I bet you might know someone who knows the researcher, and advocate and explain to them like why it's important that women are also included, that a more diverse group. It's not just women that we need to continue to welcome into the sport. We need more diversity across the board. So I think just advocating, letting folks know that we're here and the importance of studying a broad spectrum. And then I also think as we continue to develop with women in ultra running, we do want to potentially do some not necessarily like scientific research. I don't know if we have the capacity for that, but research more into like what are some of those limiting factors that are preventing women from getting into the sport, and what are some like concrete steps we can continue to take to change that. And then last piece, I know there's an awesome group, Huzzah, Megan Roach I think is part of it, and a few other people. They are doing some really great female-focused research into trail and ultra running and different factors there. So I want to shout them out. So there are some folks starting to do that work, which is great.
No, that's great, and it's interesting you're talking about that and more supports. One of the things that I have heard from friends of mine, and actually female friends of mine that are road runners, their concern is, and I totally get it, safety, especially if you're talking about being in the trail, being in the woods, potentially by yourself for miles upon miles, because we're training for an ultra versus a 5K. What is some advisement that you give novice and even experienced women in terms of how to stay safe? And as much as we want to be afraid of the bears, let's be honest, it's more to be afraid of human beings than the bears out here. Yeah. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think, again, just sharing that knowledge, explaining to folks, we just have to really be prepared, right? So just like how we come to an ultra race prepared, we have our drop bags and our gear and our food. If we're going out on a run where we might be solo, it might be nighttime, we want to make sure we're feeling really prepared. That can be sharing your location with a loved one, having like a beacon on your Strava so folks can track you, potentially carrying something like mace or a whistle, something to like alert folks. And then I always suggest, if you're going to do a night run, which I know a lot of us, especially if we're training for that like 100K, 100-mile distance, we might practice some of our night running. Always advocate, find a buddy, and that's where we want to rely on our community, reach out, see if we can have people to run together, because there is always like power and strength in numbers. And then we do host usually a couple times a year night runs. So we go to some of our local trails, we run them at night as a group of women, and I think that is a great opportunity for women to practice night running and test it out and feel safe, and also just a really empowering moment where we can have a group of like 20 women out there running at night on the trails, feeling strong, feeling safe, and feeling empowered.
Excellent. And so 2 more questions. So the next question is, what is the growth that you see with your organization, Women in Ultra Running, in terms of cities, locations, or events? Like, where's the vision going for this?
Yeah, this has, in full disclosure, I did not think any of this was going to happen, and I'm learning as I go on how to run a nonprofit or how to do this. But this year we expanded from Pennsylvania to our 2 new chapters in Colorado and Montana. We have a variety of folks, and I know them and I respond to them all the time, who are interested in starting chapters in their areas and are asking how to do that. We do want to grow mindfully and sustainably, but we are planning early next year to hopefully launch like an application program where folks can apply to start a chapter in their area, and we're putting together resources to help support that happening. So I can see us having chapters all over the country if that's possible. I don't know if that's too big, but I don't think it is. And then this year as well, we did officially incorporate as a nonprofit. So that has helped us launch our grant program, which we just offered our first 5 grants to women after a very robust application process, which was awesome. We saw 60 applications in the first day and 130 applications total. So selecting those 5 women was very hard, but it was so exciting because it shows that there is a need for this. There are women who are interested. So we're going to continue to grow that program, and any donations we get, any gear sales, all of that goes right back to hopefully offering 10 grants next year, hopefully offering grants of an even higher value, because we all know ultra running is not just a pair of shoes. It's so expensive. So we want to help women also access the sport in that way too.
Yes, and that's excellent. I love what you're doing. And then how do people reach you if they are interested in, 1, running with you, or 2, starting a chapter?
Yeah, I'd say like easiest touch point is just Instagram. We are Women in Ultra Running. From there, all of the links are in there. And if you are really interested in becoming like more a part of our community, if you live in the generally like Philadelphia, Bozeman, Montana, and Denver, Colorado areas, we do have monthly meetups there for in-person events. And then lastly, our online community, it's through an app called Halo, Heylo, and we have a really vibrant space there. So even if you don't live in those areas right now, come connect with us, come learn from one another, and be part of our community.
Wonderful, Rachel. Thank you so much, and it's lovely. Folks, that's Women in Ultra Running. Please get out, support, make a donation. Let's get the numbers up. Let's make sure that we're supporting more women getting into the sport, because honestly, as someone that has got his butt kicked by multiple women in multiple ultra marathons, I love it, but let's get more women out there kicking us guys' butts. All right, Rachel, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate
All right.
it.
Take care now.
You too.
All righty. And so now, this is the fun part. We get a chance to talk to someone that is actually crewing. And tell me your name.
Emily.
This is Emily, ladies and gentlemen, and Emily is crewing her husband today. So, Emily, got to ask you first, how many years have you been married?
Coming up on 2 years at the end of October.
Okay, so Emily is a newbie. So for all of us veterans in marriage, 23 years here, let's make sure we give Emily and her husband, what's your husband's name?
Trey.
Trey. Let's make sure we give Emily and Trey great positive vibes. And do not forget, I've already told her to enjoy, the wedding anniversaries for multiple weeks of vacations, until we all know how that changes. So, Emily, how long have you been crewing your husband?
I would say like the past 2 years.
Really? So how did that start?
Well, we both got into trail running, and then he just took it further distances, and he did his first 100-miler last year, and this is his second. So I'm his support. I crew and pace him, and yeah.
Wow. So I got to ask, who got into trail running first, you or him?
Me.
Really? You got in? Okay. So how many years have you been in trail running?
About like the same time. Like I was the one that was like, oh, I want to try trail running, and he's like, oh, it looks interesting, so I'll try it too. So we like both started at the same time, but I had like the idea of like, let's try trail running.
Oh wow. So where do you guys live, if you don't mind me asking?
We live outside of Philly.
Okay, so you're outside of Philly. Where do you guys train together?
We go to Valley Forge Park. That's in like King of Prussia area. We go to the Wissahickon. That's
Wissahickon.
Yeah. So between those two is where we go a lot.
That's great. So what has it been like to crew for your husband? As a matter of fact, let me ask it this way. What is the difference in experience for you from crewing him the first time versus now?
Just learning like what he needs, and like seeing like other people who have done it and like what they do, and like just learning pretty much from experience and just doing it.
Got you. What's the area that you found that you had to focus more on or fine tune? Was it the medical? Was it the nutrition? Was it the gear change?
I'd probably say with nutrition is like the main one.
Really?
Yeah.
What are some of the experiences that have led you to believe that?
Just because I feel like nutrition is like the most important part of trail running, and if you're not taking in your liquid and carbs and gels and all that, it's not going to be a fun day for your runner.
So have you had to have this happens in crew? As a matter of fact, we were talking to Chaos Crew and they brought up the difficult conversation, whether it's you're not well, whether it's you may need to DNF or keep going, that the runner is saying, maybe your husband or the runner is saying, I don't think I can continue, and you're like, no, continue. How do you handle that with your husband?
I'm pretty positive, and he's a pretty positive person, so like I don't have to have many hard conversations with him during his races, but I'm always saying keep going and you got it. Especially his last 100 towards the end, he was really struggling, and I said you got it. You came this far to not quit.
Got you. And so, where is he at right now? Let's talk about. Tell me your husband's name again. I'm sorry.
Trey.
Okay, Trey. How many miles is Trey in on this 100?
I think he's about to hit 50K.
Wow, so he's about 50K in. What's your plan for him as he comes through? Let's talk about in the overnight part of this. So what's your adjustments, or what do you do once you're hitting 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning? Or are you sleeping? Or are you saying good luck to him?
I'll probably be awake, probably taking a nap or there and then, but just making sure I have his bottles ready and like whatever gear he needs.
Got you. And then ultimately, are there any ultras coming up that you two are going to do together?
I actually 2 weekends ago I just did my first 50K up in Camden, Maine, and he did it with me.
Oh wow, how was that?
It was great.
How does that, knowing that you have a partner, I'm going to ask from married person to newly married person, how is it to have a spouse, honey? I hope you're listening somewhere. But how is it to have a spouse that is doing events? You're doing a lot with each other versus just in home and
Right.
working separately. How's that experience been?
It's been great. It's fun. We love being out together and just doing it as a team.
Great, that's amazing. Well, Emily, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming, and honey, I hope you heard that. Just in case you ever want to come, run with me. And Emily, I do got this question. The first time you crewed your husband, right? Did you, wherever you were standing, did he know just to come right there, or did you hold up a camera and then make him run another 15 to 20 yards?
I have not yet.
Honey, you heard that. She was right where she needed to be and not made her husband run another 15 to 20 yards because she wanted to run along, okay? No, thank you. You just allowed me to tease my own wife, so I appreciate that. Emily, thank you again. And good luck to Trey. And good luck on your next Ultra, both of you, okay? All right, so that's what we have for this segment of the interviews. And again, as you see, we got folks, you hear the cowbell, you see everybody coming through. We got the cool Chaos Crew Gators. I am so amped to use this, especially for this winter. Looking forward to it. When we come back, what I'm going to try to do next is pull maybe some of the runners on the side, those that are fit enough and are okay for just giving a quick chat, so we can just get into their mind. But we're going to take another break, and then we'll come back at that time. So this is Elmani Viney from the Wayanda State Forest on the border of New Jersey, because I'm from Jersey, and New York, right here at the Wild Goose Trail Festival with Sasquatch Trailrunning. All right, signing off, and we will be back in a few with our next segment. Peace.